In this country. And this morning I am glad to have with me in studio Tom Nduku. Wow, Tom is a security expert and he's also a political analyst. Welcome back to the show, Tom.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. We had a great show last week and it's so good to have you back.
Okay.
All right. So now let's just get straight to it. The country has now recorded its highest cases of COVID-19 in the recent weeks, from about 6 to 11%. And the government, in a bid to intensify the vaccination drive in the country, issued a directive that those who are not vaccinated would be denied government services, an issue that was petitioned in court and ruled against. Now, I know that there are countries that have made it mandatory, Tom, to prevent and eliminate the rise of infection rates. The government has the responsibility to take care of the lives of its citizens. Now, could you just tell us, are there instances when matters of security can make you override the law just to ensure that your citizens are safe?
Well, in the first instance, actually, to give a proper account of this matter, one of the things that I tend to think Kenyans like going to court so much. And they always think that everything that happens, we have to rush to court. They did not, I believe the petitioner did not exhaust the any audience with the CS concern, or any other senior officer in the Ministry of Health, maybe to give a request on how we wanted the matter to be mitigated. Because this was just a policy, the ministry policy, which they thought that if they put in place, probably could drive people
to get vaccinated.
It was like a sample trial, which could still be affirmative or be used as a sample. Even our courts should be able to advise the Kenyan citizens. Not everything must end up in court, because there is a mechanism that the courts are also trying to ignore. There is an alternative mechanism that is allowed in law. Not everything must be looked at the constitutionalism. Because even right now, the courts have given that account of the order suspending it. On what basis are they doing it? Because the minister has also not given a position why they gave out that account of such kind of an order. What was driving them?
Actually, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, even denied taking away the rights of Kenyans, saying that he meant that those not vaccinated should make phone calls instead of actually physically visiting the government offices, which is just another question right there. Can we actually get some of these services by phone calls?
I want to say that that is the weakness of the minister. I think the minister...
This is Kenya. It's not like we are coming from the moon.
But
we know what happens when you call the government.
But you see now, what I expected the CS to do, when you are giving directions, you must have personality to account on what you stand for. He was giving a ministry directive. What he needed to have done was not to change course, was just to say the reasons as to why he was making that policy.
Why it was necessary.
Yes, probably his officers have given him an account that we always go to centers. Nobody comes for vaccination. Those are the things that the CS needed to have given the public, not to retract. Retracting means that he was on a fishing expedition. Maybe he was just doing it for trial and error. I think there, the personality of the CS is questioned.
Got tested.
Yeah. He needed to have
given... But do you think we can actually get government services through phone calls?
No, it is not very easy because government telephones, first of all, very few are working.
Somebody was saying that
not even the police.
TSA for a while.
Not even the police one, which will be more reliable than any other.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one I think is an impossibility. What the ministry needs to do, first of all, the ministry needed to take an account, give us data of centers which are open. What are the daily routine numbers that attend it? consider the population around that center and why they're not doing it.
And actually implore people
yes,
as to why it is very necessary to have this vaccine. I think the approach also might be a wrong one, because instead of just breathing it down, on the people, how about making them understand why it is very important that we actually have the vaccine?
No, I think Kenyans have a problem. Kenyans respect their leaders more than even the government.
Oh, so they need to start talking to the
they need to talk to the leaders also to give an account. Like right now, we are going in for mass voting in next year in August. I think the presidential candidates need to come out and say, I need you alive. Yeah, otherwise this your support, you want
to go political on this as well.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, by that I think if he is able to marshal the leadership around his cause, we are going to end up somewhere.
Now talking about those same numbers that are now rising,
right.
There's that fear of a possible lockdown. Is that something that can be done, and what would be the effect of it?
You know, the worst thing is that as an intelligent person or somebody in the security fraternity, I would not want to buy that idea, because for a certain time we are not being given any record of an evaluation on a daily routine. So we do not know whether these people were testing on that period or not. So probably the government was not testing anybody. Now when they started, the number is now becoming a shock. So first of all, we need to have a constant investigative process where samples are taken. So that now from that line we can now marry and get the correct position, whether we are beyond the expected ratio of World Health Organization or not. Because we must be consistent. We cannot just wake up one day that the numbers are rising. They are rising from what? What are the samples that we do? And for how long? Because I think when drugs started coming, we also stopped the testing. We started by giving out the drugs.
The vaccine.
The vaccines. Yeah. So that could be another area that I think the CS needs to consider. The worst thing in this country is that we do not have good personnel. We don't have disciplined civil servants. Our civil servants look at where they can get money as opposed to how they can offer the service. Yet at the end of the day, they expect Kenyans to pay taxes so that they can receive salary. That is where we have a problem. We do not have a disciplined civil service.
Says Tom. Okay, let's move to Kenya-Uganda trade wars. According to a decision arrived at on Tuesday, President Yoweri Museveni's administration placed a ban on some of the agricultural products coming from Kenya. Now, Uganda's cabinet approved the move to prohibit goods coming from Kenya following a meeting that they held on Monday. Now, I'll just run you through, Tom, so you get to know how this whole thing started. Kenya, first of all, started by banning Ugandan milk, and that was in 2019. Then in July 2020, we now banned sugar, And Uganda now is not taking it so lightly, because even after outlawing Ugandan sugar, we did not stop there. Something else happened. We now went to poultry products. Now, so Tom, let's move on to the Kenya-Uganda trade wars. Now, according to a decision arrived at on Tuesday, President Yoweri Museveni's administration placed a ban on some of the agricultural products coming from Kenya. As it is, Uganda's cabinet approved the move to prohibit goods coming from Kenya following a meeting they held on Monday. Now, if I'll just take you back so you can have a rough idea of what was happening. This actually started in the year 2019 when Kenya started by banning milk products from Uganda. And then around July 2020, we now outlawed sugar from Uganda. And Kenya did not stop there. We then moved on to also outlaw the poultry products from Uganda. Actually, Kenya cited that some of these goods were actually substandard. Okay. So going by what is happening right now, and this goes even against the custom union protocol established by the East Africa Community Single Market, what is at stake in this room?
Well, I tend to think that the East African community does not consult. The East African Chamber, those are the members of parliament serving in the East African community, are also not doing a good job, especially representatives from Kenya. They are more interested in the bigger vehicles that they get, but if you look at the laws, actually the courts are really working, but the parliamentary proceedings are not working, because I think such kind of matters should be mitigated at the East African Assembly, and also so that they can now exhaust on a scientific approach where experts sit down, evaluate the product, and you see, even the country will understand why such measures are coming. You cannot just wake up one day and then issue orders, yet the people who are trading with those goods are your countrymen. Because if you maybe you are okay, you don't come from Western Kenya. People like us, we are from Western Kenya. In fact, Ugandan products are up to Gunja or Bondo. In fact, they're all of Siaya.
And they're cheaper?
They are cheaper. In fact, one of the things is that they are less costly as opposed to Kenya. And even fueling. Sometimes people go to Uganda to fuel vehicles, go to the school. Most of our pupils are schooling in Uganda.
Wow.
So we need just to interrogate why are we becoming a nuisance in our own country. The problem in this country is that we take measures when we have already allowed the trade to come in. These eggs, by the time they were coming in, we were aware, policemen are there, KRA are there. Those are people who should take action on behalf of the country. They left it because they were also part of that trade. Leave alone that. There is a more stronger alcohol in the name of called Waragis, which one time I was doing an investigation and I found the sachets in Makwedi. So it means those are products which are not consumed in Uganda, but they can be consumed in Kenya. One is about our leadership. The ministries, the people running the ministry who are supposed to help the government are not doing their job. Either they are part of the cartels or they don't know why they are serving. The president's disappointment is the people. We do not have a disciplined civil servant. Civil service in Kenya is poor in terms of management, in terms of case analysis. They like overreacting. If the president would go to Uganda today, he would not see a sachet. But as he leaves, he will miss the sachet on the way.
In Kenya?
In Kenya. I'm telling you. If he goes today and make a visit, he will never see even a sachet. But if he moves an inch from Uganda border coming back before he reaches Komala, he will meet a sachet. So ours is a behavior problem.
So you do agree that some of these goods were actually substandard?
I wouldn't, Aroka, I'm an investigator. I only talk on data. I have not seen any data analysis disqualifying the same. So I would consider those ones. The only thing I know, there are some goods which are not consumed in Uganda, but they are accessible in Kenya. But their origin is in Uganda.
But what is this really doing to us as countries in East Africa? When we are reaching that point of, because by the time that Uganda was actually reacting, then it's now reactionary. It's like, oh, Kenya is doing this to us, so they're retaliating, if I may use the right word. How is this really affecting us that are supposed to work?
I think the problem is in the formation of East African community. We need just to know why we created this East African community. Was it just for political purpose, or there was need to develop socioeconomic aspect? Because if we are able to identify socioeconomic aspect, then there are other matters that we deal with in South. in certain level, in a certain level where we will do much better in terms of management as opposed to outbursts.
Because this is not the first time. You remember there was that time when it was Tanzania telling its people, in fact, if you don't sell to Kenya and if you sell to them, ensure it is expensive.
Yeah, because the reason why is that some of this, we are in the communities.
Yeah.
You find Luos in Uganda, you find Luos in Tanzania. So they would get to know that and they know the people actually who are accessible to good money in Kenya here is either people who are in trade majorly are either the Kenyan Somali people or the Kikuyus. Those are the good people in trade. And sometimes they find that they buy things there cheaper, but they sell them here very expensive. So that would be another measure. Yeah, that could be another measure. Our problem in this country is about behavior. And when you are not well behaved, you will always have problems.
Let's move on to politics now. And Tom, something happened on Jamhuri Day. President Uhuru Kenyatta jumped protocol by allowing Raila to speak. Now he's been faulted by so many people about this, including, and you probably saw this trending, Kimani Ngunjiri, who is the member of parliament for Bahati, who was really, really mad about this. What do you have to say about this? The fact that he jumped protocol, you as a security person?
Well, I don't want to overreact on Ngunjiri because Ngunjiri is a Ruto man, so probably wants to please Ruto.
Yeah,
but I want to talk on the protocol procedure.
Yes.
One person to be blamed there are the handlers of the president, and especially the people who always take charge of public holidays, because they are people who should manage protocol, and they need to sit down with the president to know what is in the best interest of the president on that day's occasion. From there, a timetable should be drawn on how and who should come and talk. Indeed, national days, even the deputy sometimes misperform because he's not supposed actually to address anything. He just needs to welcome the president on a matter of protocol. But sometimes the deputy goes on to explain the issues which he has not even discussed with the president. So this could make the president also think otherwise, which is not correct. DP, whether he is supporting the government, whether he wants to be president of this nation, whether the president supports him or not, he must respect the country which is serving as the deputy president. Where there is need for him to attend with the president, he has to do it, and purposely on introduction. This is something that is protocol even in first world countries. So that one alone could bring an elapse on why the president has been acting in the same manner. Because you'll find that the DP will be explaining things that actually the president was not interested. Like if you look at the recently attended holiday, the president was to give us values that makes Kenya what we are, and what probably was forgotten by those who had served before him. That is the picture he was trying to do. But you see, and that's why you could even see DP was asking on the roadside. I'm not able, because I was not able to see the sound, but you could see the president was trying to explain what he has done. On the issue of protocol, the president needs to give a good example. And I think even him, he needs to show his authority and show that, if there is anybody to speak, apart from him and the introduction of DP, then he has to find out a proper slot
on where he will welcome
on where that person should come in.
Okay.
Not where he's coming. Him is not supposed to call anybody. He's only supposed to give official functions of the day.
Okay.
Either there is a recognition which is giving the way it was being done the other day, that is proper. But on account of that, he needs his handlers, the person who is serving the president. The president has got very many handlers who should actually be experienced. I believe these people, either they fear the president or they are just playboys in their work.
Okay.
Because I think the
but
president...
on the whole, you feel there should have been a slot, and
yes, which is well
should have just been called
which is well articulated. Okay. Because if you look at, there was a good reason why the president called Honorable Raila that day.
Yes.
Raila gave an account that probably these people didn't have. You see, most of between the president and the DP and most of the people who are serving, we are born in 60s and 70s and probably 80s.
So the
experience of even that day, these guys didn't have. And that's why when you saw Raila was giving an account of history, what was Uhuru Park, how was Uhuru Park made. You see, even right now, some of us, we did not know that even those people, those grounds were used like cells. We only knew that when we got independence, that one was the field where we got independence. So that one was very rich, but it should have been part of the program.
All right.
So that one, you don't blame the president, you blame the handlers.
Because he felt this man has to talk.
Yes, because the president has got a PA.
Now, let's look at it politically. What do you think this was communicating to us on the political front?
Well, the president is telling you guys that, having respect and a dear friend who cares, the president is happy. He's seeing that indeed, through his association with Honorable Raila, he has done
so much.
So much. You see, he doesn't borrow money anymore. And even though he was affected by COVID affected the country economically, but we are able to service something small. And that's why it is clear to him that indeed friendship is good. What the president wants to show is that indeed his friendship with Raila is beyond what people are thinking. It's not about even presidency. This is a man he respects, and he respects him because of the deeds. Where this country would have been, because today, if something happened in the negative, President Uhuru would have no name. But the fact that the country is peaceful, the president has a name. Yes.
Okay. So it showed the respect that he has for Raila. Still on politics, the deputy president, when he was hosting the religious leaders from Kajiado and Samburu as his current residents, he said that Raila has always shunned participating in fundraising activities to aid suffering Kenyans or in schools or even in the churches, kind of terming him a stingy person. Now he says that some people are lucky to do nothing and get so many votes. People should vote for him for his generosity. Now you tell me something, because this is not the first time someone talks about Raila not being so much into giving or in the Harambes or anything, and yet he says this person still manages to get votes. How come Raila doesn't use much of his money but still gets votes?
You see, I will talk to you, I would address you on that angle because I'm not a politician. Yes. But I would say one thing. I believe that if there were good services and we are able to create environments, this idea of Harambes should be something that we can do. I want to give you information like Catholic Holy Family Basilica, where I attend church service. Go and see the programs at the Catholic, the development that has been done. I will tell you there has never been any Harambe. If there was an Harambe, it was last year, in 2017 or 2016, when Honorable Kibaki came, when we were doing Cardinal Lotunga Plaza. But at that time, the church had collected about 120 million from the Christians. What the problem in this country is about transparency. Kenyans are not poor to beg for money or for Harambes. The problem has been those people who calls for this Harambe are not clear on the purpose of what they want to do with these Harambes. That's why even when you attend those Harambes, they will never turn to vote. People vote even personal vehicles to this priest.
Yeah.
They have never turned to vote. What we need in this country, which I think Honorable Raila is sending messages about, is that we need not to have Harambes, but we need to set this country to move on forward, both economically and socio-economic, in a way that when the church wants a sadaka, you don't take 10 shillings. you should take 100 shillings. Because 10 shillings will do nothing.
Yeah.
And at least 100 shillings.
You understand
can do, yes.
And you can see the result as well.
Yes, that is why Honorable Raila may be. And it doesn't mean that Honorable Raila doesn't attend the Rambles. The only thing is that probably organized Rambles is where the problem is. Even me. People come to me on the Rambles. Some of them I tell them no. That one day I should deal with. Because in the area member of parliament. Like somebody would come to me, and you see these people are funny. Aroka, you've never been a politician. This country, Kenyans are very dishonest. They would come to me with a propaganda, I would give all the money. They would go to Wandai who they told me could not do for them Arambe, Wandai would give money. They would go to another opponent. And this money is collected from all of us. Do you know in these countries where things have to be structured? Do you know able families are getting bursaries from constituency, county, and presidential bursary? This is one child.
Getting 3 bursaries?
Yes. And this is where we are also getting a problem with the police. These are the children that will go and ban schools because, first of all, they did not meet the benchmark of those schools where they are being admitted. They have gone there because of the force of their dads. When they are finished, they are the ones who join the Kenya police. So he is there not caring about the work. He is there to have what he can spend. So what makes him not to cause problems when problems can be caused? We need to have discipline in society. Actually, good countries is where when you go for Arambes, they would want to know why you must do the Arambe. Even me, I come from Lenya Maria. But you see, we are told that most of our churches are in the slums. We're not in town. The reason is we don't do things which actually are beyond the slum, which we need also to style up. And that one will only come when there is honesty. Yeah, you know, Kenyans are very good people when you do correct things. And that's why I think the position Raila is taking, Ruto maybe is doing it. But ask yourself, when did Ruto start building the churches? When he wanted to become president. So what of the other people who have done much better? President Moi gave out. Can you compare what President Moi did with what he's doing right now? President Moi, when he became the president. And you see, we had one good president, a man who would never leave, who will not miss church on Sunday. And will never address a congregation in church. That one was President Moi. He would leave and talk on the way.
Wow.
That one was our president. And look at African Inland Church. I've never seen any African Inland Church which is not a church that you can admire.
Let me ask you something, Tom. Most of the times we have people saying, okay, you want to be senator, you want to be member of parliament, what have you done for us? So they're pushing you more into using your money. But in the real sense, I feel when someone is campaigning, they're trying to tell you the office I'm going to has the money and I have the vision. When I get there, I'm going to do this and that for you. When we push our leaders to what are you doing for us right now? Which church are you building for us? What are you doing for us? That is why someone will get into even stealing or anything to get the money. And once they get into office, you will not see development happening because they're trying to get back the money that they used.
No, I think in that angle, the Kenyan police are the ones, the CID are the ones who are making things to be very messy. Because right now, go down, you may make a finding. The people who are running around with money are very young people. Who actually, life will tell you they cannot dictate even 500,000 shillings.
So where do they get?
So where do they get the money?
That's
so
what
we need is to evaluate first of all.
We see all these cars and all that. We will want to check whether you're bringing in some taxes.
Yes, and you see these are guys that file nil returns. You know, some of us we are in service industry. Like I would tell you, me I would do a job and I would tell my client what is applicable to KRA, please deduct and pay them. Yeah, pay them their money. And I would still give an account of how I've spent even my own money. You see, so our position in this country, which I cannot run away from saying, is that you see, attitude must change in this country. Attitude must change. Kenyans like Like, go around right now, people are contributing money. Where did they get that money? This person has never even worked. They were part of the cartels in the counties. And you see, since we brought in the counties, the cartels went down. And now it is even touching in the families. You'll find that every governor, like when you trace one governor in Nyanza, you'll find the whole family is driving. And big cars. Where do we get that kind of, and that's why we are underdeveloped. Okay. I will tell you, Aroka, today I will tell you, if I was the Minister for Health, or if the Minister for Health cares to know, first of all, what he needs to do is to close all chemists. Reevaluate those certificates, whether the owners are living, or at what level do they do stocking. Because we have medical records people who should be giving us an update that this kind of drugs came in this hospital, it treated so and so and so and so. You don't. Drugs are given today. Like, do you know, I'm in the security line. Do you know sometimes drugs come from Western and they are sold in Ogundu? Nobody checks these things. And if the members of pharmacy poison board, when they go to the ground, they know part of their share. That is actually why even the Kenyan auditors are failing. If they go to these counties, they go to these ministries, there is an envelope for them. I would urge the president, we need somebody, he needs to take care of civil service in this country. Until and when we have good civil servants, we are going nowhere. I'm telling you, countries which have moved have developed good and structured civil service.
Talking about people working for the government, we have the case of the DCI boss, George Kinoti, who's now filed an affidavit appealing a second warrant of arrest issued against him by the High Court on Tuesday, citing that he's being harassed. Now he wants a stay order on the warrant of arrest and from what he calls continued harassment by businessman Jimmy Wanjigi and his wife. What do you think of this whole drama?
Well, you know, I made a comment.
Yes.
You see, first of all, DCI had a very good case. He had a very good case, but I think the approach was poor. One, I do not know how Jimmy Wanjigi, one person, can have more than 10 guns holding on, unless these guns can be used to cause crime. And there is also the standard of a gun which a private citizen can have. Not all guns can be in the hands of a private citizen. On the second note, DCI, this is a warrant of arrest. A warrant of arrest is not just a mere court process. It's a court process that needs to be interrogated. At what point was the service tendered upon DCI in person? Because for this warrant to come, it means DCI neglected a certain process, which the court needed to have interrogated whether he was served in person or not. And if he was not served in person, he still has latitude in court to go and explain that as much as you are acting, government officers are represented by the Attorney General people. At no time did my counsel raise to me issues that I'm now reading. I asked for leniency. The court will understand.
So he should have gone to court.
He should go and attend in person. When there is a warrant and a notice to show cause, there is nobody who is above. You just attend in court. He can even walk into his chamber. He must not go in public. He can even go early in the morning, maybe between 8 and 9. The judge should find him at the door. He explained his case.
Going by the position here.
Yes, the judge is human. He's a human person. He's a human being. You'll be able to understand. Because indeed, if DCI was not served in person, then that order needs to be reviewed.
But if he was?
If he was, then he needs just to explain otherwise. You know, you can't punish somebody on the mistake of his lawyer. If AG made an lapse on not notifying DCI, the DCI cannot carry the cross. That one was an elapse, and he needs to be given time to change another lawyer, whether to get somebody to act for him instead of AG's office.
But let's assume the AG actually did his job.
I don't know how to assume. I don't assume. When you ask me question, you must be sure.
Let me be the devil's advocate and just say, if he was indeed served, then he indeed should go to court.
Well, whether he was served or not served,
yes.
At the time now this order is out, our DCI must arrange and go to court.
Okay, that's settled.
How he wants to go, how he wants to go, that one he needs to find out from other legal people that are around him.
That's settled.
Because I believe, and I'm sure, if this order was out, DCI must have learned it through the press. Because you see, look at...
Let me now not do the assuming.
Look at you guys the way you also sometimes overreact. Why is it that... because here I fault actually the AG. The AG is the legal advice of the government. He's the man who should take care of all civil servants.
So that we don't have this message, because
yes,
this is a mess.
Because with all this to go to this far,
all people are hearing our DCI.
Yeah, and he knows DCI is a very senior man.
Needs to be arrested, and that doesn't
and he's
sound
a very
so
senior man
for Kenyans.
And even right now, when the courts are giving an account that the Inspector General
should arrest
him, how do they expect that office to run when he's not there? There is need for consensus,
especially when dealing with such a
I think the other approach that probably I would say, which I do not know whether will be correctly understood in law, then DCI needs to write a letter to the Chief Justice and probably explain his circumstance. Probably through an administration of justice, a meeting can form the round. But the correct position, which I must tell you, with this warrant, DCI must attend court in person.
Thank you.
That is the position of that one.
Thank you, Tom. I'm just about to let you go, but before that, there is something that happened that wasn't so good. A Kitengela landlady held 2 minors hostage for over 24 hours over rent arrears. It had to take social media intervention, the chief, to have the door opened. Just how far can landlords go in law? How improper is that?
Well, that's actually why we should not leave at the likes of things that are now happening to this year to continue. And because you see, one thing that I want to tell you, Aroka, maybe just to touch on the DCI issue, which I think I've not exhausted properly. You would ask yourself, well, Jimmy has been denied the guns. What is the loss? Can he tell us what the loss? And who authorized him to keep those 10 guns? What does he run with 10 guns? See, let us also be very sure of what we are talking about. Because you see, this is a country where people have been dying, and when investigation is done properly, you find that the bullet did not belong to that gun. Or that gun which was used is not the correct gun now before court. So we need to assemble and take away this kind of guns. Going by your question, which you are saying, that's why I'm now bringing you to the fact that when there's a rule of law, you also make a finding. Because at the end of the day, this issue touching on this year, they will come to an end. But where will be Jimmy Wanjigi? When these guns now will be investigated, how he acquired them? Has he ever asked himself those questions? Did he write a letter? Was a letter approved? Who approved it? And at what juncture was he allowed to hold more than 10 guns? What was he guarding? And who has been using these guns? And at what level does he exchange the guns? Because you see, even keeping the gun, I will tell you, like somebody who uses the security. Having a gun is even more useless if somebody else removes his first. And And even somebody, if a crook knows that you have a gun, then you can die very quickly, more than even an ordinary Kenyan who does not have, who does not work with a gun. So until and when we exhaust this issue properly, that's why I'm saying there are only two issues. Either the government, the security, the minister needs to come out and say, this is my person, I am sorry, this thing had happened, I did not know that it could take this angle, but I also have 1, 2, 3. It will rest this matter. And let us just show that judge who is giving this order some respect, that indeed it is not about you, but that Simba that you see behind there, you see that is the country. For respect of that, because at the end of the day, you know the risk of this. The risk of this is that when at one time the CID may arrest the most wanted criminal, then the court will say you always disrespect us, go and deal with it. You see, now we'll be running the country in very different terms. So I would want some respect to happen. Okay. Now, coming to your question, you know, when you become a businessman, you must have what is called social program. That not everybody whom you meet will be a good person. There will be good people who pay you in time. There are some people whom actually you will be getting your money on 15, despite you having a loan. So when somebody is unable to pay, which I don't think many good people do, is for you to know why he's not paying. That is if he has been your tenant for a period of time. Yeah. Because problems are with people. Yeah.
Especially now.
And don't be judgmental only to be seeing that you must get money. You can also say, just stay, then please leave. But to the extent that now you are locking somebody, you know, one thing that people have not done, and that's why this kind of actions take effect, is that when such kind of a thing happens, you guys run to the police. The police have got nothing to do with this matter. The person who should be looked into here is the person who the children did. They should go and evaluate the house, get facts clear, give out good reasons. Then you go to the rent tribunal. You check with their rules. Does your rule state that somebody can lock somebody inside? No or yes. And if I default to pay the rent for 3 months, what needs to take effect? Should you come and throw my things out? Or should you attach my commodities? Because you see, there is a rule in court right now that like this seat where we are sitting, even if auctioneers are coming, they should not take this with this your computer, because these are tools. These are your tools of trade. They want the money, and this is how you make money. So if they take this, you will not have a seat to sit on, so you can't make money. You cannot have your computer, so you can't make money. As when you lock somebody inside, how do you expect him or her to get money to pay?
They need to get out there.
Yes, and work. So from there, we will either get where we have lapse of law, which also where we can also think on how to protect the landlords and protect the tenants.
But
in a way.
But at no point do you lock anyone.
No. Anything inhuman, leave alone even the law, but even godly. Yeah. Are you not a person of God creation?
You probably have children as well.
Yes. And don't think that if you're a landlord, even your children will be. We have seen many mansions coming down.
Yeah.
Great families, very few are surviving. Even look at pre-independence time. See, so in those
just happened to your children.
Yeah. So don't give a bad omen to your offspring. Because what you do here, one of your people will pay back. That's why you see, even in Kenya here, we had very great families. They are no longer there. They had fallen. So my position is, one, let us, at the end of the day,
be human.
Yeah, because I know constructing a building is not easy. Probably it is on a loan. But you see, this is the society where you are. It's like when, I don't know how your village is. If you want to hear about the village, you don't talk about, if you want to know your personality, Don't be going to bars. Call those local people who drink who drink Busa. They will tell you who you are. Yeah, if you want to hear about me, come to my village and talk to those guys. They will tell you who I am. Yeah, you see, the locals will always give a good position. And they always don't lie. There are even instances where a rich man has passed on. But just to dig the grave, the local people say, we are not doing this. Pay us first. Why? And he was a rich man.
He was a bad person.
Yes. So it's about etiquette. I don't think building is easy, but behavior matters. This was wrong, but the concerned parties, for us to correct something, in this country, our problem has been we have failed to exhaust the correct procedure. So we rush to the police. The police in Kenya, what they would want is bribery. Tunataka petroli ya kwenda huko. Everything fails. So that angle, let us build it. And you see, this is the work of the chief. What are we paying the chiefs for? Even by the time now you are bringing this question to me, I would have expected that the chief had given directions.
No, actually the chief was called. After these 24 hours, he's the one who now helped.
But it should not be after 24 hours. It should be immediate. Because that is the work of the chief. He should be taking care of what the government should take care at the local level.
Wow. Yeah. At least we agree it was wrong, you know.
No, it is very wrong.
And we need to...
No, actions...
We just need to be human in
No, actions... You know, when you have a property, you are a father.
Yeah.
And not that the father that you are a father to people you have given birth to. Now, because you are in a certain level where I am not in.
Yeah.
So you should give me that latitude.
Good guidance as well. Thank you so much, Tom. It's been an amazing time. You know, we've exhausted what's happened in this country this weekend. Of course, I'm hoping to have you here before Christmas.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, so we can, you know, get to talk about what's happening in this country.
No, but before you end, Kenyans must be very careful on the health issue. If they are not careful, they will not go for Christmas. They will not go for Christmas because when the numbers are going up,
there could be a lockdown.
The experts will speak. So let them be very careful.
All right.
So if it is vaccination, let them go for it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tom. Tom Nduku is a security expert. He's also a political analyst, and this is Impact. My name is Millicent Taroka. We get to talk about what's happening in this country, socially and politically, every week on Thursday from 8 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us, and of course, check us out, Aroka Media on YouTube. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you can get to have this whenever it is hot. Have yourselves a great day.